I'm Sue Johnson, and I'm getting ready to document my making a rug. I love braiding rugs, and so I thought this time I would document it and then see how it goes. I'm doing this for somebody else. This is the material they chose, and the first thing I do, I take the material and put it into the washing machine. Okay, now I put the material into the washing machine. I always like to wash it first just in case it might shrink. So that's why we wash it. I always wash it in cold water. I like to be able to have my rugs where you can wash them when they're done. But that's the next step. Okay, the next thing we do, we have to lay out and make these strips. And depending on the type of material is the width of the strips. Usually if the material is real thin, you want wide strips. You can go up to 8 inches. This material is somewhat heavy, so I chose to go with 4 inches. And so you lay it out and measure 4 inches across each way, which you can see I'm doing. 4 inches, 8, 12. And then you draw your lines. And after you get all these lines drawn, the next step would be to cut the strips out. We will go to that after we get this drawn. As you can see, the next step here is, after I drew all those lines, is cutting it all out. And you might ask, well, why don't you use electric scissors? Well, I tried it, but it did not work. It actually works better to do a really good sharp scissors. And I don't mind doing it. It's very relaxing. I enjoy it actually. But go ahead and cut all these strips, and then when all done, you fold the right sides together and put them in the stack, so that way you can get them all ready for sewing. You might ask also, well, how many yards of material does it take to make a rug? Well, it depends on the size, of course. This particular rug is going to be anywhere probably about maybe 3 feet by 4 feet. It's going to be an oval shape. So this particular collar, I have 6 yards. And then the other one, I'll probably use anywhere between 2 to 3 yards, depending on how it goes. So average, you can say maybe between 8 to 10 yards of material. So you multiply that out, you can figure out what the cost is just for the material. Okay, now it's time to sew these long strips together. And what you want to do, you want to put the right sides together, like so. And sew across on one end. And then you start sewing down the entire length of the strip. Now, I like to use about a 3/8 seam. It doesn't make it too thick, so that way when you turn it inside out, it's a lot easier. After I get done sewing the strips together, I use this handy little tool, which probably looks familiar to you. It is a curtain rod, but it's just the perfect size for me to turn everything inside out. And I take the end that I sewed and put it over the edge, and then I start pulling the material down the rod until it's fully turned inside out. Just got to pull, pull, and pull. Usually if it's a little wider, it comes off easier, but like I say, I'm going to keep with the 4 inches. Although I probably should use 6 inches, because I know most women like 6 inches, but we'll just go with a 4. Make do with that. There we go. Pull it off. Okay, now that all my strips have been turned inside out, what you do, you put one strip in the middle and form like a T, and then this is where you begin your braiding. So you fold over one corner, like so, and you fold over the other one. So you have a point. And I just use a little simple paper clip here and hang it up. And this is where you start your braiding. You see you have 3 strips and you braid it like you would braid your hair. Just go back and forth. You try to keep this tension the same way throughout the whole thing. The next step, as I was saying, was a turning braid. And in order to do that, because we want to be able to go around and around and around. So we got probably a good foot here, just about where I want to start doing it. So what I do, and this is where you need to zoom in so you can see how I do this. To do the turning braid, you take this flip over, and rather than bringing this one over, you bring this one over again. So it's a matter of over, then over. Then you can bring this one back and you continue with your braiding. What this does, it creates it so you could turn it and you won't see any change. And then you could just continue with your braiding. You do the same thing on this end and you do it for a couple rounds. And then you can start braiding, 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 braiding. Okay, as you can see, I've started the braid. I'm going around and around and around. And what I do, I use this big eye needle to put the thread in. And I double the thread. And then what you do, you lace the seams together. So you go, this is a blunt end, so it doesn't hurt or anything. So you go underneath, and then underneath the cross one to tie them together. And I do this 2 times, so that way it's good and strong. Then when I get done here, I take my needle and push back on these threads and I pull it tight. Not too tight, because you don't want it to break, but you just want a nice snug fit. So then you have a nice rows coming down, and then you alternate going the other direction on the next row or the next loops, and you just continue doing this over and over and over. And as your thread runs out, you take some more thread, double it up, sew it to the end, and just continue. So it's one big continuous long threading. Okay, as you can see, I've progressed with this rug a little bit, and you can see we've changed colors. And what you do, you want to do this as a gradual addition. You start changing the colors one at a time, and then you add 2, and then the full thing. So I did around a couple times, and now I'm going back the opposite way, where I go from 3 to 2. And then when I get down to the end, I will add another brown, and then it'll be all brown all the way around. So it's slowly getting there. I would say I'm about 2/3 done. As you can see now, I've come to almost the end, and I'm going to fine tune and finish this up. You cut these strips in like a thin triangle. Try and keep them as long as possible. You turn them inside out, and then you sew along this line, and then you turn it and do the final stitching there. And when I get this one completed, I will braid it, and as the braid gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and then this final one will be tucked in here and sewed, so hopefully you won't see where it ends or where it begins. And seeing her reaction for the first time. So this is it. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my God. I love the colors. Oh, Chloe, get off. Get off. Oh, that's gorgeous. Love it. I know. So
Yeah.
it's washable. You can go
That's
either
fabulous.
side.
That's fabulous.
You know, and it's handmade. It's gonna last 20, 30 years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's very thick.
Nice.
Lift it. It's heavy.
Oh yeah. Beautiful.
Hey Lynn, the final resting place. Oh, I love it. There it is, right in front of her kitchen. And most likely the dogs will sleep on it.
No.